Good evening. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners. Welcome. We have some visitors tonight. We're always happy to have visitors in the room with us. We are going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by Police Chief Bill Carter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Our invocation tonight is going to be from the Wendell First Baptist Church, Deacon Fletcher. Are you with us?
Yes.
Go right ahead. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you. And greetings to all. First of all, I'd like to just say at Wendell First Baptist, we elected a new pastor September the 19th, Dr. Tony Baldwin. And so he's going to be our new pastor. We do honor him also, but we give all our honor to God first. Let us go into prayer. Father God, we just want to thank you for just allowing us this opportunity. We ask, Lord God, for your guidance. We ask for your wisdom. We ask for your support. We ask, Father God, that all that make decisions through this meeting, Father God, be good decisions. But Lord God, we put you in first. For you to open their minds, Father God, before they even speak. Bless them, Lord, and anoint them. Touch them, Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus. We call on your precious name right now, Father God, because we know and we realize, Father God, your son down the cross just for us. We ask this prayer, Lord God, in the name of Jesus. Bless this meeting continuously. Bless the Lord God, for the Heavenly Father, the ones that's present there, the ones that will be on the teleconference. Bless them, Lord God, and the meeting is over, Father God. Let everyone lead on one accord. We pray and we ask and we know it's going to be done in the name of forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you again for being with us tonight. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to add one item, if we could, please.
Okay.
Item we'll call number 6D. It's approval of a purchase of approximately 3.9 acres located at 2910 through 3030 Wendell Boulevard for the future construction of a police station. So,
is that a motion to approve with the addition of
yes, ma'am.
The item you described? Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. We have no one signed up for public comment tonight. Please remember that you can sign up ahead of time and do it over via telephone if you'd like. Contact the clerk by the Friday before our next meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move into section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. Item 4A is a proclamation proclaiming October 2021 as National Community Planning Month. Let's see. Find my notes. Do you want to do it or you want me to? I will. Okay. I feel like I pressured the last one, so I'm going to do it. The American Planning Association endorses communities to support the designation of October as the National Community Planning Month. Community planning is a crucial component of making our communities safer, resilient, more equitable, and more prosperous through the well-planned projects that provide economic opportunity, infrastructure, open space, and positive quality of life. The Wendell Planning Department provides services to assist property owners in achieving these outcomes, as well as developing and implementing community vision for the town of Wendell. So we have a proclamation proclaiming National Community Planning Month, whereas planners work to improve the well-being of all the people working for safer, resilient, more equitable, and more prosperous communities, and whereas community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. And whereas the American Planning Association encourages communities across the country to recognize October as National Community Planning Month. Whereas the American Planning Association endorses National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight how planning is essential to recovery and how planners can lead communities to equitable, resilient, and long-lasting recovery. And whereas the town of Wendell actively supports well-planned infrastructure projects, strong communities, expanded economic opportunity, and equitable development for a positive quality of life. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed by the Honorable Mayor and Town Board of the Town of Wendell that the month of October 2021 be recognized as National Community Planning Month. Duly proclaimed this the 27th day of September 2021 and signed by me. So I wanted to thank you all for everything you do on behalf of the citizens of Wendell. It's greatly appreciated. Everything that you do to extend the plans that this board makes and make those things happen. I have to brag. I was recently at the Home Builders Association, the Raleigh-Wake County, and I think I told you, and I always get really good feedback from them about how quick the turnaround is and how much assistance they receive from your office. So I thank you for that, because that makes me really proud to be there representing Wendell and representing you all. So you can hang this in your office.
We will do that. Thank you to the mayor and the town council. We appreciate all the planning that you're putting into documents such as strategic plan, comp plan. That really helps create that vision, and for implementing, it's fun for a staff, like our planning staff. So on behalf of the planning staff, thank you for the award and the proclamation.
Thank you. The next one, item 4B, is the presentation of the acceptance of donations policy, and we're going to hear from Stephanie Smith. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to present an acceptance of donations policy in response to recent requests that we've received from the public to submit donations to the town. The purpose of the policy is to establish a framework for the acceptance of donations, the acceptance and use of donations, and donor recognition. With the approval of this policy, should the board choose to do so, this would provide an equitable way for staff to receive donations, help the public understand how their donations could be used. Funds received will be used for beautification of town property through public art, aesthetic improvements, or efforts in line with the town's strategic goals and initiatives. Examples could be for things like replacing aged or damaged trees, purchasing park benches, park enhancements, or even something like the purchase of a town vehicle such as a police car or public works truck. Donors will have the ability to request how their donations are used, but ultimately a committee made up of representatives from each department will determine the best use of funds received to ensure they're in line with the purposes of those funding uses. Finance has reviewed the draft policy. Monetary donations will be accounted for in a non-revenue account upon receipt, which will allow for tracking of funds across fiscal years. Donations can be appropriated through the annual budget adoption process or through mid-year budget amendments when qualifying projects or expenses are identified and approved by the board. Donors will receive recognition from the town through a letter signed by the mayor, as well as through an annual recognition at a Board of Commissioners meeting. Donors also can request recognition of a specific individual through the donation form. Any recognition should be inclusive and in no way exclude or intimidate any person or groups. And donors and use of funds will be recognized on the town's website. So I'm just here tonight to present the draft policy, answer any questions, and then for consideration, adoption would be at the next meeting.
Are there any questions from the board? All right. Thank you. We have no public hearings scheduled for tonight. We'll move into our administrative items. Item 6A is the addition of the Pleasant Grove Community Development Project to the American Rescue Plan Act project list. Mr. Collins.
This is an exciting project opportunity. I'd like to recognize Asa Bell, was part of the meeting with town staff about a week and a half ago, and staff we hadn't really taken time to listen about what the Pleasant Grove community's vision was for the old Carver School and the community, and just what needs of the community were. The American excuse me, the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act, provides a lot of opportunity that the town really hadn't had in the past to be a partner, and so it was great timing. As mentioned in my cover sheet, Pleasant Grove Baptist Church has been in the greater Wendell community for 158 years, but hasn't been in the town. And so part of that conversation dealt with how to provide equitable services for people and make them truly part of Wendell in a manner that was cost efficient and effective for that community. And so it's there's a lot of different components and moving parts that I'll get into shortly. As you see on the slide here, the town's anticipated using approximately $715,000 last fiscal year. After the auditor did their work, at this time only $370,115 would be actually expended from those funds to cover last year's eligible expenses, and that leaves the town currently $2,363,352 for eligible projects moving forward. The projects that have been presented and discussed to this date include the repair of a stormwater project at Blakeford Dam, a downtown stormwater project in between the railroad tracks and 2nd Street in the funeral home area.
Yeah.
There are properties along Hollybrook Road that aren't connected to water and sewer, so there's kind of a get rid of septic and wells within our jurisdiction area. On Wendell Parkway and 3rd Street, the upgrading of the water line to improve water pressure to downtown and the downtown neighborhoods, as well as a downtown market space for economic access. So locating a place for pop-up businesses and providing opportunity to spur entrepreneurial growth and economic opportunity and access within the downtown district. So those are the projects to date. I will point out that ARPA funds aren't intended to be like the 100% funder of any project. You leverage a lot of other funds, you seek additional grants, and then ARPA funds provide that backfill. They don't supplant existing funded projects. So this isn't seen as 100% funding. As I mentioned, we met with Pastor Bell and Michael Vereen of Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. And one thing we noticed is a lot of the church and community's vision and needs really matched with strategic initiatives and goals of the town. And so it really provided a lot of overlap and synergy between the two. One is dealing with the issue of traditional black communities being just outside of communities, and a social equity issue of making sure that everybody has access to the same utilities and services that everybody else does. And so part of that is having a conversation with the community about what benefits there are of being part of the town, formally inviting people to become part of the town, and then developing that plan with the community about how to provide those services in a manner that keeps people in the community rather than displacing them out of the community. Then there's a conversation about Carver School, the Carver School property, which is really exciting. They have a lot of really neat things going on right now through East Wake Leadership Academy services, but the potential for that property in coordination with service and program needs, facility needs in our Parks and Recreation Master Plan, there's a lot of overlap there. And so additional space for after-school and track-out camp expansion is tremendous. Family resource centers and classes to help within our community. Job Development Center services, continuation and expansion of the East Wake Leadership Academy. Some of that may overlap with things I just said there. Youth summer camp, senior housing. Part of it, one of the community identified issues is people are aging and they want to age in place. And so is there a place for people to transition out of their homes into an environment on the campus there where they can live in a supportive community senior housing project on that site? Community meeting space. You never have enough of that in a community. The old auditorium, the restoration of that provides a lot of opportunities for community theater and other utilization of that space. And also a business incubator. Again, providing places for people to come and learn how to start a business and have access to our local economy. I mentioned a little bit about the community at large. There's a lot of complex conversations about how to where and who wants to be in and who not. This is all voluntary. There's no involuntary annexation, so it's really a community engagement process on this, and making people feel included and understanding what the value is of being part of the town. There's some equity. If you're receiving municipal utilities and you live outside of town, you're paying twice the utility rate. And in many cases, a gas line or a cable line comes right up to the municipal boundary, and that's where the private utility cuts it off. So it's coordinating with our utility partners about how to get extensions into this community, especially if we can bring them into the town. So, access to broadband is equivalent to a railroad station in the 1800s or an interstate in the 1900s. Access to technology and data is the equivalent in today's society, and so making sure that's equitable within our community. There's opportunities for a park on the east side of town. We just got approved for Pardiff on the south side park. The county's expanding our town park on the west side. We're working on a north side park. And so being able to talk with the community about providing something on the east side of town helps build that green belt and implement your Parks and Recreation master plan. And it kind of goes back to the providing equitable services to the community as well. The extension of sewers and the connection of sewer easements to neighboring properties. An important part to this is there's approved developments that need access to a pump station on the property, and so being able to work that out, that the town is able to bring a lot larger benefit to the community and the church, and the church is able to offer something back to the community through a sewer easement, and helping us talk and communicate and understand what the community needs are. So there's a true partnership with this potential. I've already mentioned the sole source. We'll get creative and find every dollar outside of Wendell to bring in to benefit the community. Due to the nature and diversity of projects here, there's a wide variety of sources. The county is committed to this project in the past, and we'll definitely call on them in a couple different areas for this as well. So staff at this time just request that the board formally make a motion to include the Pleasant, I'm so excited, my tongue is twisted. Pleasant Grove Community Development Project to the list of ARPA projects, and authorize the town manager to request Pleasant Grove Baptist Church to partner with the town, as well as our other partners, to develop a project for community engagement, implementation, and components and funding. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? Yeah.
I don't think I have any questions for Mark. His excitement clearly is noticeable. I'm excited about this. I'm excited. I think it's a definite thing that we should support. Pleasant Grove has been a big part of this community for a long time. I know, Pastor Bill and I have talked about this standing in the back of the parking lot one night. I didn't think we'd need to ride through the wave of 2020 to receive ARPA funds to get to it. But hey, we'll take a W whenever we get a W. I certainly appreciate our staff thinking outside of the box. I think some of this stuff, we have some once in a decade funding things that are just coming our way. And I think it's very important that we make investments in the community. I love all the infrastructure that's on there, but this is a whole nother level of infrastructure as far as human capital and human resources and investing in people. And I think that that's equally as important. So at whatever point you're ready for it, Madam Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion.
Well, let's see if there's some other comments first. Does anyone else have anything to say? Any other comments? I told Pastor Bell earlier tonight that he may have to do like this to me to tell me to calm down. And he told me not to calm down, so I'm not going to calm down. I'm so excited about this. Probably one of the most exciting things that has taken place in my time on the board. After 158 years of leadership, this area has always been part of our community, I think in our minds and our hearts, but I like to make things official. And this is official, and that's the way things are supposed to be. This is an important first step in that direction, and I hope it's an important first step of us earning some chips that maybe we need to earn, and we're willing to do that work. The town wants to be a meaningful partner with the Pleasant Grove community, and I look forward to everything that we're going to accomplish because I have no doubt it's going to be just great. It's going to be great, and I'm thrilled to death to be part of it, and appreciate your willingness. Anyone else? All right, let's hear your motion, Commissioner Joyner.
Madam Mayor, I move to add the Pleasant Grove Community Development Project to the American Rescue Plan Act project list.
All right, we have a motion to add the Pleasant Grove Community Development Project to the American Rescue Plan project list. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, there we go. Item 6B is a request to add an economic development specialist position into our fiscal year 2020 budget. Mr. Collins.
So I hope around this time of year, the past few years, you're starting to get used to the manager showing up and going, we're growing faster than we anticipated. There's additional funds likely in our revenues because of that growth, and talking with finance and looking at budgetary projections at this point, especially in development services, and talking with department heads. The most critical thing coming towards us kind of deals with a lot of these special projects, downtown projects, implementing economic and comprehensive planning, and complexity in some of the nature and size of some of the projects headed our way due to impacts like the Wake Tech breaking ground, Wake Med announcing their campus in Wendell. Those items, along with the rooftops that have been built over the past few years, are triggering what the town has sought for a long time, and that's significant interest investment in real estate for non-residential development. And because of that, I'm before you with this item tonight. Just a refresher for those who may not be aware. 3 years ago, we basically had no economic development effort outside of whenever the manager or planning staff could break off some time. That time is decreasing rapidly. There was also an awareness that probably every adopted board since the beginning of time highly values economic development and diversification. And so if it's an important strategic initiative, putting resources and staff time towards it is how you implement. And so the first baby step into economic development was the funding of an outside economic development consultant, David Denny of Sanford Holhauser, who's been serving us well. And so you see that the total contract amount and additional ancillary expenses is still less than $40,000 annually right now. When you get to a tenured, seasoned, and exceptional economic development professional, that's not a lot of time. That's less than 10 hours a week, thereabouts. It's more like 10 to 20 hours a month. And so that's not a significant amount of time. I track the amount of time that's needed to actually perform, to implement the projects, and I never bring a position to you until the amount of time exceeds the actual position request. So the number of hours of work, if we could actually spend it, are more than a position right now on these projects. This isn't a position that is new to our planning in the 10-year staffing projection. We do have an economic development specialist. I had hoped or thought that maybe some of this development would really be taken off in 2024, and sometimes there's good problems. A good problem is that we're getting the inquiries now that I thought we were going to get a couple years from now. And so it necessitates the request moving forward. Specific projects like the one previously presented. Launch Wendell is a real opportunity to get entrepreneurial business starts and help our small business expand and grow in Wendell. The American Rescue Plan Act has a significant number of projects and complexities. And then just the number of inquiries in non-residential projects that are headed our way, having someone to act as that liaison for business to work with planning and other organizations, to work with Wake County Economic Development in the state, is needed at a higher level than our contract and our current staff time allows. I'm busy. Brian Coates is arguably busier than I am, and we're the two people who would do it otherwise. So if the board so approves, the position would be assigned to the town manager's office. We'll make do with space in the building. We've already got plans to clear out a little cubby area that had a staff person in the past, and that's our last space to a new town hall, so this is it. Can't come back to you more till we have a new town hall. And so we asked that the economic development specialist position be added to the FY22 budget. If it was approved, I'd get it posted by the end of this week, start advertising so it would be on staff hopefully in the next two to 3 months, which would time out well with the end of the comprehensive plan, and more importantly, the small area plan around the community college area that's really going to drive a lot of the staff person's time, so they can begin working with some known developers in that area, as well as a couple other areas in town. I'm sure everybody's seen in Wendell Falls the collective area, which includes headquarters and office building space. So that infrastructure on the ground is going to likely lead to something going vertical, and so having dedicated staff is becoming critical. The proposed position grade is 23. You can see the salary range there. We feel that that's a competitive range within our market, not a very seasoned professional, but above what most starting Main Street coordinator positions are for other small towns around the state. So we feel that it will be attractive to existing economic development professionals around the state. It's not to replace Wake County economic development or the state's efforts. Those are our economic development team. This is a town liaison to work on more municipal type projects that aren't that. Happy to answer any questions you may have on this.
Any questions from the board?
I have one, Madam Mayor. The current arrangement we have with Stanford Holzhauser, will that continue through how long then?
Just through the end of this fiscal year.
Okay.
David and I had that conversation earlier that we thought through the end of this year is probably sufficient. I thought I could hold out till next year, but like I said, I've got projects coming in that I'm not sure where I have staff time for right now.
Okay.
I think it's very exciting and a good problem to have so many inquiries about commercial growth that we need assistance with that. I think that speaks well for all of us, and it brings things to town that people have been asking for. So that's a great thing. Any comments from the board?
I had one more, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
And just in your opinion going forward, this is something that we should be able to handle for in the budget. I know it's a general fund for this year, but should be something that should be worked in the budget, no problem?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If nobody else, I'll make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
To approve the addition of the Economic Development Specialist to the FY 2022 budget with a salary grade of 23 on the pay plan.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to approve the addition of an Economic Development Specialist to the fiscal year 2022 budget with salary grade 23. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Item 6C is a resolution requesting the North Carolina Department of Transportation for a speed limit reduction on Wendell Boulevard between Roseville Road and Buffalo Creek Crossing near 97 from 55 to 45. Mr. Coates, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. This request is for you to motion for the resolution and authorize the town manager to request to DOT to lower the speed limit. In the review of the Wake Tech plans, the town of Wendell requires sidewalks and pedestrian improvements along both Roseville Road and Wendell Boulevard along the frontage of their properties. In that area, the speed limit between the Roseville Road traffic signal and the Buffalo Creek, its speed limit is still 55. DOT does not allow sidewalks along a state road when the speed limit is 55. So one way that that little section ultimately should be 45, whether Wake Tech was constructing a campus or not. But our vision for that corridor is more pedestrian, more mobility of all kinds. And so in a meeting recently with NCDOT and Wake Tech, our solution jointly was to lower the speed limit to 45 in that small section. It is already 45 along Roseville Road between the interchange and the traffic signal. So this, for a good reason, we want bike lanes, we want sidewalks, we want those mobility options for our residents and visitors that be going to that campus. And we anticipate, as we've part of economic development that Mark just mentioned and other things, we expect other development around that future campus where we're going to need connections for pedestrians, bicyclists, and visitors. So the request is just to lower the speed limit from 55 to 45.
I agree with you. Regardless of the Wake Tech, when the credit union and cruisers was put in, I actually asked because it seemed strange to me to have that little section of 55. So anyhow, very logical to me. Are there any comments from the board? Okay. Right. I need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize the town manager to request the NCDOT reducing the speed limit on Wendell Boulevard between Roseville Road and the Buffalo Creek Crossing near 97 from 55 to 45.
And approve the resolution?
Yep, and approve the resolution, thank you.
So we have a motion to to approve the proposed resolution, authorize town manager to request the DOT to reduce the speed limit on Wendell Boulevard from 55 to 45. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, other business?
Thank you.
Got our 6D.
Oh, write it in my thing. Thank you. You jumped up there, didn't you?
Yeah. Been working on this for y'all. Thank you, board. There isn't a slide for the walk-on item, but you have the background material. For the public's benefit, I'll explain what's going on and help that. So whenever a town wants to purchase or dispose of property of any kind, it has to do so within a public meeting. And one of the not so secret purchase acquisitions of the town is looking for a future police station site. This was in our FY22 budget and our capital improvement plan. It's been included in our bank documents, bank loan documents, and submittal to local government commission. And we have successfully negotiated a property sales agreement for the purchase of approximately 3.9 acres on Wendell Boulevard next to the Wendell Fire Department and across the street from the Wake County EMS station. So that will be a true public safety first responder corridor in Wendell for the future. That is a corridor that was targeted by the board and police chief and department as the area of first choice for a future department. This is actually a little more acreage than originally anticipated, but having room to grow and extend a facility will help future taxpayers keep down future costs, we hope. Purchasing property now instead of waiting 5 to 10 years accomplishes two main things. One is there's no guarantee that property would be available where we need it in 5 to 10 years with current growth patterns in the interior of Wendell and around Wendell. The second is escalation of commercial property values that we're seeing within that area and around Wendell. This will likely save, if those 5% trends happen over time, that's hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars saved purchasing today versus 5 to 10 years from now. The negotiated price within the purchase sales agreement is $6.60 per square foot. That is consistent with the market average for comparative sales in that corridor, which has been reported out prior. With 3.9 acres, this is approximately $1.12 million. You'll notice that price matches the bank loan documents, so this is the price prior reported to the board, so no increase or decrease on that amount. There is a $20,000 escrow which would be applied to purchase at closing, and we can get back if we leave the agreement for some just cause in due diligence. Title, the seller's providing a marketable fee simple title. This is a little different than what we typically do. At this point, they're not guaranteeing beyond, I think, current ownership, and so the town attorney is going to work to cure title insurance and make sure that it goes back further. We do have the ability, if they're not able to cure any past items that we find, to back out of the deal with no harm, which was made. So the town attorney has reviewed it and may want to comment more on that, but I believe it covers what we need for now to do our due diligence and get towards closing. Closing is scheduled 30 days after the end of a 90-day due diligence. Seller will provide a survey. It's our understanding that they're marketing the property for residential development behind this, and so access from Wendell Boulevard across the frontage of the property to the rear for the construction of a town road, standard road, is also part of that and why they'll provide a plat. Staff recommends approval of the purchase and happy to answer any additional questions. I provided a map of the general area for your reference as well.
All right, any questions from the board?
Mark, can you remind us when the next step after this, when folks could, when do we get a planning and a design? When do we get a?
Oh, actually build?
Right.
It's not in the current 5-year CIP. A police station would be a comparative build to the new town hall, not accounting for tremendous escalation of materials or costs. So from a budgetary standpoint, spacing that out in the 5 to 7 year window from current fiscal year is likely to get to design and construction. Hopefully, you know, with the budget adopted for this fiscal year, year 6 would have probably had some form of design or planning happening at that point. And we're looking at options to extend life and space to, much like we did with Public Works, to get them through until a facility could be constructed there. So it's outside of the 5-year CIP, and I'm not willing to commit to a year specific after that. So between 5 and 8 or 10. But I would not want to overcommit some future board to something said tonight at this point. It would be based on need. It could happen sooner if we had some critical need. It could happen later if things slow down.
All right, any other questions or comments from the board?
I just comment to say that one, I think it's good to be overly transparent and on the front end. So like I greatly appreciate and I'm excited about the fact that we're taking this step and, you know, for lack of better terms, buying dirt and knowing where the future of the police department will be. And I also think it's important to point out that I've learned just a little bit on my time on the board, and one is to you know, under promise, over deliver. So make sure that we understand the timeline on the backside. And the thing that makes all that work, and the reason that I'm excited about this, is because it's already in a plan. It's moving in that direction. I appreciate this board and as well as town staff continuing to work the plan, because the plan seems to be working for us, and I'm happy to make a motion at any point.
Go ahead.
I move we approve the purchase, sale, and authorize the town manager to sign the agreement.
And can that also include approving a resolution to that effect?
And what he said.
Okay.
And approving a resolution to that effect.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the purchase and sale and authorize the town manager to sign and approve a resolution to that effect. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. I apologize for missing it. I didn't write it in, added in, I didn't write it in my cheat sheet notes. Item 7 is other business. 7A is update on board committees by town board members. And this one is mine. The Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization met on September 15th. It was virtual. We received an update on the implementation of the Wake BRT program of projects. We received a Northwest Study Area update and endorsed the did I say Northwest? It meant Northeast, I'm sorry. study update and endorsed that study to be included in further long-range planning efforts by including the 2050 MTP. We received the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan update from Chris Lucasina. We received the Wake Transit ART funding eligibility policy. We received the Campo project and programs funding update, and we received the launch of the Wake Transit performance tracker. There were also various informational items about the budget, the member shares, and others on some project updates, the executive board, September 2021 project updates. We get those every month, and the public engagement updates. Those additional efforts have been made towards public engagement right now, especially because of the nature of our meetings being virtual. There were also other staff reports from the DOT, the Turnpike Authority, and executive board members. Our next meeting is going to be a joint meeting, actually, with the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization and the Durham Chapel Hill Carborough Planning Organization. It's going to be this Wednesday at 9 a.m. By WebEx as well. So I look forward to that. Now we'll move into Section 8, Commissioners' Reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It fall is the best time of year in Wendell. Not to be confused with my favorite time of the year, which is budget time. I'm saying that fall is the best time of the year because there's so much going on and so much to do. Want to thank Meet on Main, awesome event recently, and then obviously this past weekend downtown was thriving with International Food Festival and Oktoberfest all going on in downtown, as well as the Farmers Market, which was also going on in downtown. And then this coming weekend we got the Harvest Festival coming. Lots of fun, lots of exciting stuff going on. Come out and get involved. It's a lot of fun to be had. Also wanted to note former town commissioner and Wendell, I think leader in a variety of things, Lions Club, the Wendell Methodist Church, Bridgers Farm and Coal, but Sheldon Bridgers passed away yesterday, and certainly we'll miss his smirky smile that he had that had the ability to tell you exactly how things have been in the past and often how he thought they should be in the future. Certainly someone that I wanted to acknowledge and sympathies to his family on the passing. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Lutz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll echo a lot of Commissioner Joyner's comments towards the highs of the past weekend, and then some of the lows of the passing of a community kind of leader here. Also with that too, I'll kind of just encourage everybody. Harvest Festival is this weekend, and so it looks like it's going to be beautiful weather. So come out, support local businesses, support local civic groups and organizations, and just have a good time. And thanks to all the hard work that the town staff and the Chamber of Commerce and everybody's put on. I've no doubt it'll be a great event like always. It'd be nice to have it back this year again too.
Commissioner Tarnasky?
Good evening, Mayor. I'd like to say on behalf of St. Eugene, as a longtime member, thank you for coming out and supporting our 19th International Food Festival. Beautiful weather, great food, and all those that came by and saw me at the Polish booth. Thanks for coming out. Have a great day.
Commissioner Deloach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A handful of things tonight. First, I'd like to congratulate Norma Farrell from the Eastern Wake Senior Center. She announced her retirement, which is sad and exciting for her. Certainly her time, her talent, her love for others in her community. She's been a blessing. I've enjoyed working with her, talking with her, and she's certainly been a blessing to Wendell and Eastern Wake. So thank you, Norma. We appreciate your service. Harvest Festival has been mentioned. 10 a.m. parade, 11 a.m. We're going to do a welcome, and then the Hunger Heroes, which is formerly the Little Miss, Little Mr. Wendell. And then finish up 6 to 9. There'll be a band playing, so full day, And, weather's supposed to be great, and, come on out. The parade will be fun and a day full of events. There will be a COVID vaccine clinic. I gave information about this previously. Did one in September in front of the Methodist Church. This time we're going to actually be at the Harvest Festival, so 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Be just across from J. Ashley Wall Square, between Agave and Farmers and Merchants. We'll have a tent set up there, be some signage, so can't miss it. Come on out for that. Again, 2 to 5, day of the Harvest Festival. And finally, I do want to recognize Pastor Bell, Dr. Parham. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight. I think you know how much Pleasant Grove means to my family, and this is a partnership that makes sense, for sure. And it's exciting. There's a baseball field there that I stare at every time I'm there. I'm a baseball guy, so I think about what could be and what might be one day. And that building is an awesome building and tons of opportunity there. So I know that Commissioner Joyner and I have discussed it pre-COVID, but there's certainly great things going on. And I just want to say thank you for being here tonight, and I'm happy to support that this evening. So that's all, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We send our condolences to the Bridgers. I believe Shelton Bridgers sat on this board even at one time. And in addition to his passing this past weekend, we also lost Reverend Robert Josie, who was the first African-American police officer for the town of Wendell. So he served the town, and he also worked at Siemens. I'm trying to remember all the things that he did, and I have visited with him many times on my porch and enjoyed his company always, and was thrilled to count him among my friends. And so our condolences to his family as well. First, some of this is redundant, but thank you to St. Eugene's Catholic Church for hosting the International Food and Music Festival this past weekend. It's always a great event, always look forward to. My family ate a lot and had a wonderful time. So this coming Saturday is the annual Harvest Festival in Wendell, the 93rd annual. The parade begins at 9. Vendors, food trucks, performances, Kids Village, Hunger Heroes, and ends with music in the evening. So come on out and have a good day. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for taking care of this annually. The Halloween Treat Trail is coming up, and they are seeking vendors to participate. There's no cost to sign up. It's wonderful exposure for your business. You can contact the Parks and Recreation Department. It's going to be on October 29th from 5 to 9 at the community park on the trail through the woods. It's a chance for you to give out business cards and information, and come bring a lot of candy, because there's going to be a lot of kids that come through there. And those that wish to bring their kids, please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I also want to congratulate the Parks and Rec Department and Jeff Pulaski, the director, for being awarded another PARTIF grant. That's a Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant. It's matching grant. And it's my understanding there were 58 applications, 14 funded. This is for our new park on Hollybrook Road, and construction is scheduled to begin next spring. I'm very proud of our parks program. This is in furtherance of our parks plan, as is the Pleasant Grove area. We're getting park out there as well. So we're doing great things with our parks plan and carrying that out. And I think our goal was to have a park or park space of some kind within, was it 2 miles of every resident to be able to walk, and we're checking them off and getting there. One more thing, the Dorothy May Hall Center is having a fundraiser this weekend. They are located here in Wendell, and they provide basic needs and enrichment services to women, children, and families. This is their big fundraiser for this year. They're going to have vendors, carnival games, face painting, etc. And they are collecting, it's kind of a carnival and kind of calling it a baby shower. So they're also collecting diapers and wipes, baby clothes, other baby items, and of course monetary donations. It's going to be held at the Wendell Falls Lakeside Pavilion on Saturday, October 9th from 1 to 3. So please mark your calendars and go out there and get your kids face painted and take a pack of diapers, and so for a very good cause. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Mayor, I move we adjourn in memory of former Commissioner Shelton Baden Bridgers.
All right, we're adjourned.